Close your eyes and imagine the Earth not as it is now, but as it was before time had a name. A restless cloud of stardust floating in silence. No oceans, no sky, no sound, only light and shadow swirling in an infinite dance. From that cosmic dust, the heartbeat of a planet began to form, pulsing softly through the darkness. Tonight, we drift into that ancient beginning, into the quiet dream, where fire became stone, where chaos learned to breathe, and where the earth first whispered, "I am alive." Long before your footsteps ever touched the ground, before oceans gathered or mountains rose, the earth was only a thought, a silent dream carried in the breath of the universe. It began in the heart of stars that lived and died long before ours was born. Their fiery deaths scattered dust and metal into space, glowing like embers of a divine forge. From that cosmic ash, our planet's story slowly unfolded. The young solar system was a storm of collisions, a spinning ballet of molten worlds and fragments searching for balance. Each impact sent rivers of fire rippling through the void. Amid that celestial storm, gravity reached out, drawing fragments together, pulling dust into form. Slowly, painfully, beautifully, the Earth began to take shape. A newborn sphere of molten rock, wrapped in firelight. In those first moments, there were no continents, no colors, no sky. Only a restless ocean of magma that churned beneath a veil of smoke and metal. The air shimmered with toxic breath, heavy and bright. And yet hidden within that chaos was promise, the faint possibility of calm. The same elements that burned would one day cool into soil, air, and life. Imagine standing there, if such a thing were possible. The world beneath you glows like an ember. Meteors fall like rain, painting streaks of silver across the endless night. Every explosion reshapes the surface, every silence feels eternal. But even in the violence, there is rhythm, a pulse, a pattern, a heartbeat of creation. As time drifted forward, millions of years passed, in the blink of a cosmic eye. The earth began to cool. The furious glow dimmed to a deep red, then to black. A crust formed, thin, fragile, like skin on cooling metal. Cracks spread across it, venting heat and fire, whispering the first breaths of what would become mountains and valleys. Beneath that crust, molten rock continued to move slow, as thought, patient as eternity. From the darkness, the moon was born. When a colossal body collided with the young Earth, fragments of both were thrown into orbit, gathering together to become our silent companion. Ever since, the moon has circled faithfully above, holding the rhythm of tides, the balance of our spin, the gentle sway of our seasons. Even in its silence, it became the first storyteller of time. The Earth's early skies glowed orange and gold, thick with vapor and ash. Lightning crackled in endless storms, igniting the gases that swirled above the seas of fire. Rain had not yet fallen, but the air was heavy with anticipation. It was as if the planet itself longed to breathe, to cool, to rest. The music of creation softened from thunder to a hum, a slow, deep note, echoing through molten stone. It is strange to think that everything you have ever known, the air you breathe, the water you drink, the life that fills the forests and seas, was once part of that glowing dust. The iron in your blood, the calcium in your bones, the carbon in your breath, all forged in the hearts of dying stars. You are in every sense the memory of light made alive. Slowly, the chaos calmed. The Earth's crust thickened. The glow faded, and the first sigh of coolness spread through its surface. What had once been violent became still. What had once roared became the whisper of wind over cooling stone. The planet slept wrapped in its own warmth, dreaming of oceans and rain. Beneath its thin crust, the fires of creation did not die, they merely waited. They beat like a heart under layers of stone, patient and steady. Every tremor, every spark, every shift in the rock was the Earth's quiet reminder. I am alive, and I am still becoming. If you listen closely, even now, you can feel it. The faint vibration beneath your feet. The silent hum of an ancient force that has never stopped moving. The same energy that once shaped mountains now holds the world in delicate balance. The same gravity that drew dust into being still cradles the seas and guides the moonlit tides. All around you, the earth carries the memory of that first dream. The warmth of stars still glows faintly in its depths, and the dust of galaxies still sleeps beneath the grass. You are standing on the surface of a miracle, a world that built itself from chaos, learned to cool, and dared to continue. So as you rest tonight, let that thought drift through your mind. The ground beneath you has seen fire and light older than time. It has known the silence of space and the song of creation. You are safe upon it now, just as starlight once found peace in stone. The universe dreamed once, and the dream was Earth. And tonight, as you drift toward sleep, you are drifting too into that same dream. The warmth you feel, the quiet you hear it, is the memory of the first beginning. You are part of the same gentle unfolding that began billions of years ago, still whispering through the dark. If this quiet journey has brought calm to your thoughts, and if you wish to wander further through stories like this, soft, slow, and full of wonder, please remember to subscribe to Gentle Sleep Stories. There are more worlds waiting to cradle your dreams, one sleepy soul at a time. The dream of stars has quieted now. The newborn Earth, once a sea of fire and light, has cooled just enough to hold its breath. Beneath its thin crust, the planet sleeps, but only on the surface. Deep inside, heat still stirs molten and alive. The world's heart has begun to beat. And tonight, as we drift deeper into its memory, we'll listen to that hidden rhythm, the first heartbeat of mountains, the breathing of fire, the quiet birth of stone. Beneath your feet, even now, the earth is never truly still. Long before mountains lifted their faces to the sky, or rivers carved their silver lines across the land, this world learned to breathe through fire. In the beginning, that breath came from the depths, from molten chambers, where stone flowed like liquid light, glowing with the warmth of creation itself. Imagine standing at the edge of that ancient world. The air is heavy, trembling with heat. The sky, not yet blue, burns in shades of copper and gold. You can hear the planet's slow exhale in the rumble of volcanoes, in the hiss of steam rising from cracks in the ground. Every eruption is a heartbeat, every wave of lava, a sigh of life stirring deep within. This is how the earth first spoke, not with words, but with fire. Magma pushed upward through thin crust, searching for escape, bursting through fractures and pouring across the surface in glowing rivers. Each eruption built layers of rock, cooled and hardened, only to be covered again by newer waves. Slowly, the skin of the planet thickened. Beneath that surface, magma continued to flow, restless, patient, never silent. The early volcanoes were colossal. They stretched across entire horizons, releasing clouds that blotted out the newborn sun. The air shimmered with ash, glowing red in the fading light. But there was beauty in the chaos, too. Every spark that rose into the sky carried the memory of a star. Every glowing river carved the foundations of the continents yet to come. Over millions of years, the Earth's heartbeat began to find its rhythm. The molten world cooled from chaos into structure, from violent outbursts into a quiet, steady breath. Inside that breath, something extraordinary was happening. As lava cooled, it began to form the first granite, dense, speckled stone that would one day shape the bones of mountains. Those rocks still exist today, deep beneath our cities and forests, ancient and unmoving, yet full of the planet's first warmth. Run your hand across a piece of granite someday, and you'll touch the frozen memory of that time. Every tiny crystal within it once glowed with fire. Every grain was once liquid light, now turned to stone. It is a message from a world that was still learning how to exist. A patient reminder that creation takes time, that even the fiercest heat can cool into something enduring. As the fires raged and cooled, gases rose into the sky, carbon dioxide, nitrogen, water vapor. Together, they formed the first thin atmosphere, thick and warm, wrapping the earth in a restless mist. It was not yet the air we know, not yet kind to breathe, but it was a beginning. When lightning flashed through those dense clouds, the heavens seemed alive, flickering with the same energy that once danced inside the stars. From those storms, the first rain would someday fall. For now, only steam rose, hissing, whispering, falling back as droplets that evaporated before they could touch the ground. But each whisper of vapor carried a promise that someday water would stay cool and gather. The same water that would fill oceans and rivers was already waiting in the air, patient as the planet itself. Even in its infancy, Earth was building everything it would need. The minerals forming beneath the surface, the gases thickening above it all, pieces of a great design unfolding in silence. Fire gave way to rock. Rock breathed out air. Air prepared the way for water. And through it all, the planet turned, glowing softly in the dark, a cradle of warmth in the endless cold of space. From afar, the young Earth would have looked like a flickering lantern, orange and gold, pulsing with molten veins. But up close, the scene was intimate and alive, rivers of lava, winding through valleys of smoke, mountains growing from the inside out, entire regions reshaping overnight. Each eruption was both destruction and creation, both an ending and a beginning. That balance between chaos and calm would become the rhythm of the world forever. In time, the volcanoes began to rest. Their fires sank back into the depths, leaving behind vast plains of cooled basalt. The surface grew steadier, thicker, ready to bear the weight of oceans and life yet to come. The earth exhaled once more, a long, slow breath that filled the sky with mist. The crust, though fragile, had learned to hold itself. The molten heart beneath continued to beat slower now, but strong. If you listen closely on quiet nights when the wind is still and the ground feels heavy beneath you, you can almost hear it. That same ancient rhythm still hums beneath your feet. The movement of plates, the soft murmur of magma deep below. Every mountain, every valley, every distant tremor is the echo of that first breath. The earth still remembers how to speak in fire, and perhaps that is why we find peace near volcanoes, why the sound of a crackling fire feels comforting, why we are drawn to the glow of warmth in darkness. Somewhere deep in our memory, we remember that we were born from the same heat. The same pulse that once shaped the earth now beats within us, slow and eternal. Tonight, as you close your eyes, imagine that breath again, the planet sighing beneath you, exhaling warmth through stone, whispering softly through time. The world is still alive. It has never stopped breathing. And as it rests, so may you. If you felt a quiet calm in this journey, if the slow rhythm of the earth has lulled your thoughts into peace, I invite you to stay close. There are many more worlds to visit, many more stories that sleep beneath your pillow. Subscribe to Gentle Sleep Stories, and let the planet's next whisper carry you deeper into dreams, one sleepy soul at a time. The fires have quieted now. What was once a world of molten breath has begun to cool beneath its smoky veil. Steam still rises from the cracks where lava once flowed, drifting upward into the thick, heavy sky. The air is dense with vapor and the scent of minerals just born from fire. The earth, after exhaling its heat, is now ready to inhale something new. Tonight, we drift into the next chapter of its dream, where the sky opens, the first rains fall, and the ocean finds its voice. It began with a single drop, then another, and another, falling through the steam of a world still glowing faintly from its birth. The first rain did not fall gently. It hissed and vanished as it met the burning ground, turning to vapor before it could settle. But it kept falling, patient as time itself, until the heat began to soften, until stone cooled to black, until the planet's first puddles of water refused to disappear. Those puddles became lakes. The lakes joined and deepened, stretching outward, until they covered entire valleys. And from those valleys, the first oceans were born. Not the blue, calm waters we know, but dark, swirling basins of mineral-rich liquid that steamed under a dim red sky. Yet in their restless movement, something sacred began, a rhythm, a pulse, a voice. The earth was learning to sing through water. Listen, and you can almost hear it, the echo of those first waves crashing against newborn rock, carving shapes into the edge of the land. The ocean spoke in slow syllables, pulling and releasing, as if whispering secrets to the cooling earth. It was not yet the sea of color and light that we know, but the foundation of all sound, the planet's first song of movement and memory. Imagine standing there, the air still heavy with smoke, the ground trembling faintly beneath your feet, as the planet's core sighs beneath you. Around you, mist gathers, dense, glowing faintly orange in the reflected firelight. Then you see it, the first true ocean, vast and black, rolling beneath a sky filled with lightning. The flashes illuminate waves that rise like living creatures, and each wave carries with it the story of the world's beginning. The water came from deep within the earth itself, from the vapor trapped in minerals released by volcanic breath, rising skyward only to return as rain. Over millions of years, that Rain sculpted the surface, smoothing the jagged scars left by lava, softening the harshness of rock. The world that was once violent and sharp began to take on gentler shapes. Valleys formed plains spread outward, and the ocean cradled them all in its growing arms. And within that water something began to stir. Minerals dissolved, mixed, and danced in the heat of volcanic vents beneath the waves. Lightning split the skies, sending bursts of energy into the restless sea. Simple molecules collided, broke apart, and found each other again in new forms. They did not yet have names or purpose, but they were the first steps toward life. The first breath of possibility rippled through the tides. In the deep, where light could not reach, hydrothermal vents glowed with soft luminescence, chimneys of heat rising from the planet's belly. They released plumes rich with metal and minerals, feeding the chemistry that would someday awaken consciousness itself. Even then, long before creatures swam or forests grew, the sea was alive in spirit, a vast mind forming beneath the waves, patient and dreaming. The first oceans were restless, constantly reshaping themselves. They flooded lowlands, carved new coasts, and pulled mountains down grain by grain. Each wave carried the dust of stone and the ashes of fire, mixing them into a cradle of creation. Over millions of years, those movements would give birth to continents, to climates, to cycles of water and wind that still breathe through the world today. When you stand beside the sea now and listen to the rhythm of the waves, you are hearing the same eternal voice that began on that ancient day. The ocean that laps against your feet has whispered the same stories for billions of years. Stories of fire, of silence, of beginnings. Every droplet carries the memory of that first rain, that first steam, that first sigh of the cooling earth. The color of the sky began to change as the world cooled further. From its once fiery orange, it softened into gray, then a deep violet haze. Clouds formed in endless procession, shading the earth like veils. The storms that followed were not destructive but nurturing. They carried minerals across the land, washing them into the seas where life's ingredients were waiting. The sound of thunder became a heartbeat. The flash of lightning became breath. Over time, the ocean's surface began to reflect light, dim at first, then brilliant. When the storms cleared, the planet saw itself for the first time. Imagine that moment, the sky opening, the first dawn reflected on a mirror of water that stretched beyond every horizon. The stars above shimmered faintly through the mist, and the world below, wrapped in its ocean, glowed like a blue jewel in the void. The Earth had changed forever. It had become not just a planet of fire, but a planet of balance, fire and water, heat and calm, chaos and rest. The ocean became the heart of its memory, the keeper of its history. It would one day cradle the first cells, the first creatures, the first songs of life itself. But for now, it simply moved, breathing in and out, whispering across the ages. As you lie still and listen to the rhythm of your own breath, imagine it matching the slow rise and fall of those first waves. You too are made of the same water that once fell, as rain upon the glowing rocks, the same hydrogen that drifted from stars, the same oxygen that bubbled through the sea now fills your lungs. Every heartbeat within you is a soft echo of the planet's first tides. The ocean has always been there, patient and knowing, reshaping the land, carrying light, reflecting the sky. It is the great dreamer of the earth, a mirror of its soul. And as it once cooled the fires of creation, it cools our restless thoughts, even now. So tonight, as you drift toward sleep, let the ocean's ancient rhythm carry you. Feel the calm of waves moving through your chest, the gentle pull and release of tides within your heart. The sea remembers where you came from, and it will cradle you, just as it cradled the newborn world. The earth is breathing through water. You are part of that breath. And the night, soft and infinite, is the ocean of stars above you, reflecting everything that ever was, and everything that will ever be. Sleep now, as the ancient sea sings quietly beneath the moon. Its story will continue tomorrow in the slow dance of continents, and the whisper of drifting lands waiting for you in the next chapter of this eternal journey. The seas have found their rhythm now. The storms have softened, the sky has cleared, and the earth rests beneath a shimmering veil of blue. Beneath that calm surface, something stirs again, not fire this time, but motion. Deep under the oceans, the world is beginning to shift and stretch. Invisible forces rise from the planet's heart, pushing the skin of the earth to move, to breathe, to dance. Tonight we drift with that movement, where continents learn to wander, mountains begin to rise, and the silent choreography of creation begins. The ground beneath you, so steady, so certain, is not still at all. It drifts, slides, and bends so slowly that a single lifetime cannot feel it, yet so powerfully that over millions of years it can tear the face of the earth apart. Long ago, when the oceans were young and the world was wrapped in steam, the crust beneath began to break and move. This was the moment when the earth began to dance. Imagine looking down from space upon the newborn planet. Beneath the clouds, the continents were not yet divided. They were fragments searching for one another, pieces of a puzzle constantly rearranging. Beneath them, the mantle churned like slow rivers of fire, carrying the continents upon its currents. These immense slabs of rock, tectonic plates, floated atop the molten sea of the mantle, colliding and separating in a slow, eternal rhythm. At first, the dance was violent. Continents crashed together, mountains rose in sudden bursts of stone, and entire regions sank beneath the sea. Volcanic fire drew lines between them, marking the boundaries of their motion. But even in that chaos, there was grace. The planet was sculpting itself, learning balance through motion, shaping its surface as an artist shapes clay. Over time, the continents gathered into one enormous mass, a single supercontinent known as Pangaea. Imagine it one vast stretch of land surrounded by endless ocean, its coasts touched by tides that circled the globe. Forests would one day rise there and rivers would cut across its plains. But for now, it was a silent, barren land, rock meeting sky. Beneath it, the earth's deep fire continued to move, restless, patient, waiting to split it apart again. And so it did. Cracks formed within Pangaea's heart, glowing with molten light. The land trembled, opened, and slowly began to drift apart. New seas poured into those wounds, and the ocean widened, pulling continents away from one another. What was once whole became many. Africa drifted from the Americas. Europe stretched away from Asia. Australia slid northward toward the sun. The planet was teaching itself renewal, that nothing solid stays whole forever, and that separation too can be beautiful. These movements, invisible to human eyes, reshaped the world completely. Mountains rose where plates collided their peaks, scraping the sky. Valleys sank where the crust stretched thin. Ocean trenches opened like dark, endless scars. Even today, those same motions continue quiet and unseen. The continents move as fast as your fingernails grow, just a few centimeters each year. Yet those small steps add up to revolutions written in stone. If you could speed up time, the Earth would look alive. Continents would glide like slow ships across a molten sea, gathering and drifting apart in endless cycles. Oceans would open and close like the lungs of the planet. The Himalayas would rise like wrinkles on its brow, while islands would appear and vanish like passing dreams. The Earth is not fixed. It breathes through motion. Each collision, each parting left behind new landscapes, mountains filled with minerals, valleys carved by rivers that followed the fault lines. Even life itself began to respond to the planet's movement. Species evolved and migrated as the continents carried them to new climates and new light. The Earth's slow dance shaped not only stone, but the future of everything that would walk upon it. And though we cannot feel it, the motion continues beneath us even now. The floor of the ocean slowly spreads outward from deep ridges, where molten rock rises to create new crust. Along those ridges, the planet renews its surface endlessly, pushing the older crust outward until it sinks back into the mantle at faraway trenches. Creation and destruction happen side by side in perfect balance, one feeding the other in an infinite loop. This quiet, ceaseless movement is what keeps our planet alive. Without it, the Earth's surface would grow still and lifeless, its volcanoes silent, its oceans stagnant. The shifting of the plates recycles rock, stirs the atmosphere, and keeps the core's warmth flowing outward. It is the planet's heartbeat pulsing through stone instead of flesh. When you walk through mountains or gaze upon distant cliffs, you are seeing that dance, frozen in time. Every fold of rock, every line of granite, every curve of a valley is a trace of that motion. The ground may seem eternal, but it is only pausing between steps. Imagine for a moment if you could hear the Earth move. It would not be loud. It would hum a low, resonant sound beneath the threshold of hearing. The deep, ancient music of the world, turning upon itself, slow and graceful as a waltz of continents. Each tremor, each whisper of magma beneath your feet is part of that endless melody. There is comfort in this thought, that even when the world feels uncertain, the Earth itself moves with purpose. Its rhythm may be slow beyond imagination, but it is steady. It has never stopped. It has never faltered. Through fire and ice, through storm and stillness, the planet has kept its pace, one patient step at a time. And so tonight, as you lie quietly, imagine the continents drifting beneath your dreams. Picture them gliding across glowing oceans of molten stone, shaping the surface of tomorrow. Feel the faint hum beneath you, the pulse of a living world that has carried your ancestors and will carry all who come after. The Earth is dancing still, and you are part of that dance. You were born of the same motion, carried by the same tide of time. Let that truth soothe you as the night deepens around you. The planet moves, but gently. It changes, but faithfully. Beneath your bed, beneath your city, beneath the oceans and the sky, The earth sways to its ancient rhythm, slow, patient, eternal. Now, rest. The continents are still moving, and the world is quietly turning under the stars. And somewhere deep below, the stone remembers the first steps of its dance, a dance that will never end. The continents continue their slow, graceful drift across the planet's molten heart. Mountains rise, oceans open, and the world keeps reshaping itself in quiet motion. Yet deep beneath the surface, far below the roots of the tallest peaks, another story is unfolding. It is a story written not in movement, but in pressure and fire, in transformation so intense that even darkness turns to light. Tonight we drift downward into that secret realm where time, heat, and patience turn the ordinary into something eternal. Far beneath the crust, in the deep mantle where temperatures reach thousands of degrees, the air itself would glow if there were any to breathe. Down here, there is no sound, no light, only weight and pressure beyond imagination. The rocks are not still. They flow slow as dreams under the planet's colossal heartbeat. And hidden in that immense silence, something extraordinary begins to form. A single atom of carbon drifts through the dark. It is simple, common, unnoticed, until the weight of the earth presses upon it. Under crushing force and unbearable heat, it begins to change. The atoms draw closer together, aligning perfectly into a crystal lattice locked in harmony. In that instant, the plane becomes precious. The carbon becomes diamond. It takes billions of years for these crystals to grow, buried hundreds of miles beneath the surface, shaped by pressures so great they could flatten mountains. They remain there untouched, glowing invisibly in the molten dark, until one day the earth exhales. A volcano erupts, not the soft kind that spills rivers of red, but a violent burst from the deepest depths. The explosion is so fierce that it tears through layers of stone, carrying fragments of the mantle upward at incredible speed. Among those fragments are the newly born diamonds, still hot from the furnace of creation, racing toward light for the very first time. When the eruption cools, those diamonds sleep again, this time within veins of volcanic rock called kimberlite. They rest there for ages, until erosion, wind, and time uncover them. What began as dust buried in fire has now risen to the surface, waiting to be found, to be held, to catch the light. It's a strange thing to think that something so small and clear can hold the memory of such violence. Each diamond carries the mark of its creation, the scars of pressure, the echoes of heat, the fingerprints of time. When you hold one, you are touching a piece of the planet's secret heart, a moment when darkness gave birth to brilliance. But not all diamonds take so long to form. In the rarest of moments, when conditions align perfectly, carbon can transform into diamond almost instantly. A flash of unimaginable force. A meteor striking the earth, a sudden volcanic eruption. The collision of plates miles beneath the surface can rearrange atoms in a heartbeat. These are the planet's sudden miracles, light, forged in an instant of chaos. Slow or swift, every diamond tells the same story: transformation through endurance. It is the Earth's quiet lesson in patience that beauty is not born without pressure, and light does not emerge without first passing through the depths. Imagine that hidden realm now, the deep mantle glowing softly like embers beneath the crust. Magma pulses through its arteries, carrying heat from the core outward. Crystals grow in the dark grain by grain, slow as breathing. The planet is at work, creating jewels not for display, but as part of its own balance, its slow, eternal conversation between fire and stone. When you look at a diamond sparkling under sunlight, what you see is not just brilliance, but memory. The clarity of that crystal is the story of the earth remembering its own strength. Each facet catches the light the way the planet once caught the fire of stars. It is as if the universe hid a little piece of eternity inside every stone, a reminder that even the smallest thing can carry infinite time within it. The same carbon that becomes diamond is the same that shapes all living things. It lives in your breath, your bones, your heart. The diamond and the human share the same origin, forged from stardust and sustained by pressure. When you breathe out the carbon you release could one day become part of a crystal deep below. The planet reuses everything, turning life into stone and stone back into life in a dance of endless transformation. Deep time is the sculptor here. The forces that create diamonds are the same that shape mountains and continents, that lift the sea floor and fold the crust. Every moment of pressure, every tremor beneath our feet, is the whisper of creation continuing. The earth never stops making new wonders. It only takes longer than we can comprehend. The greatest diamonds were not meant to be worn, but to remind us that beauty often begins in places unseen. They formed in silence, under unimaginable weight, never once doubting the light they would one day reflect. And when at last they reached the surface, they did not cry out, they simply shone. There is a lesson in that quiet radiance. The planet teaches us that patience transforms everything, that endurance gives birth to clarity, that what is buried deepest can one day shine the brightest. The story of every diamond is the story of becoming, of surviving pressure, without losing one's shape, of turning darkness into light. So tonight, as you lie beneath the vast ceiling of stars, the same stars that once gave us the carbon in our veins, remember that you are made of the same essence as those hidden gems. The universe has pressed you too in its own way. It has shaped you, refined. You turned your struggles into the facets that catch your light. You too are a diamond being formed by time. Listen closely and you can almost hear the heartbeat of the world beneath you, slow and deep. The rhythm that once pressed carbon into crystal. It hums in the rocks, in the sea, in the air, and within your chest. That is the pulse of creation, still beating, still shaping, still shining through all that endures. The earth does not rush its miracles. It creates them slowly, with care, with patience, with love. And somewhere beneath your feet, right now, in the depths of silence and heat, another diamond is being born. Another small spark of eternity, waiting for its moment to rise and meet the light. So sleep knowing that even in the dark, beauty is forming. Pressure is shaping. Time is working. The world beneath you never stops creating light out of shadow. And in that endless quiet labor you are part of its brilliance. The diamond's light fades softly back into the dark, sinking once more beneath the crust. Above, the continents continue their endless drift, carried by the breath of the earth. The mountains rise and the oceans widen. The planet exhales warmth and inhales silence. But this is no stillness. It is rhythm, the same rhythm that has pulsed since the dawn of time, the quiet motion that shapes valleys, tears apart coastlines, and lifts the spines of continents skyward. Tonight we follow that rhythm to the places where the ground itself breathes, the mountains that rise, and the seas that sleep. There is a kind of patience in stone that human hearts can only dream of. It moves too slowly to be seen, yet nothing escapes its touch. Beneath our feet, deep currents of molten rock shift like slow rivers, pushing the continents upward in gentle, unstoppable waves. The earth, though silent, is alive with movement. And through that movement, the first mountains began to breathe. They were not born in sudden violence, but in long, unbroken pressure. When two great plates of the earth met, neither yielded easily. They pushed against one another for centuries, millennia, eons, until the crust folded like fabric, wrinkling into ridges that reached for the sky. From these ancient collisions, the first mountains were born, their summits glowing red with the memory of fire. Even now, that same power endures. Beneath every range, beneath every stone, the earth continues to rise. If you could stand and watch time move like water, you would see mountains breathe. You would see them swell upward with each collision, then sink again under the weight of rain and wind. The Himalayas, so tall and unyielding, still climb a little higher each year, rising faster than your fingernails grow. And yet while they rise, the same forces that lift them are already tearing them down. Wind carves their faces. Rivers grind their bones. Ice flows over them, patient as eternity, smoothing their edges grain by grain. Mountains are not monuments. They are moments, brief peaks in the planet's long rhythm of creation and decay. Every ridge, every valley, every slope of rock is a frozen gesture in a dance that never stops. To the earth, these giants are as waves are to the sea, rising, falling, dissolving, and returning again. Far below, the deep ocean mirrors this quiet movement. The same forces that push mountains upward pull the seafloor downward, drawing parts of the crust into the mantle once more. The seas and the summits trade places through time in a slow exchange of matter and memory. The rock that once rested beneath the Pacific might one day stand as a peak in the Andes. The ground beneath your feet might, in ages to come, lie miles beneath an ancient ocean. The earth never wastes its own creation, it simply reshapes it. And while the mountains reach upward, the seas breathe downward. When land rises, the ocean must retreat, sliding back into deeper basins. Vast plains once underwater emerge into sunlight. Coral reefs dry into stone. Fish fossils sleep in what becomes desert. Then, when the land sinks again, the waves return, washing over the past and beginning the cycle anew. Every shoreline you have ever seen is temporary, a line drawn by time's hand upon the skin of a restless world. Picture it, an ancient coastline stretching beyond sight, the horizon lost in silver mist. The water hums softly, moving to its patient rhythm. Far inland peaks pierce the clouds, their snow melting into streams that weave back toward the sea. Between them lies the heart of the Earth's story, a conversation between height and depth, between silence and motion. One side rises, the other falls, and the balance remains perfect. To live upon this world is to stand within that balance. Every step you take upon solid ground carries the memory of movement. The stone beneath your feet was once deep beneath the sea. The sand between your fingers was once the roof of a mountain. Even the air that surrounds you carries dust, worn from peaks that vanished long before human eyes opened to see them. This is the hidden music of the earth, its tides of stone and time. It is slow beyond imagination, but it never ceases. The planet's surface bends and folds, crumbles and renews, breathing in long geological sighs. When an earthquake ripples through the ground, it is not destruction, but motion. The world shifting its weight, stretching its bones, finding its shape once again. Even the tallest mountains are not eternal. Their peaks, sharp and proud today, will one day fade into dust. They will feed rivers, build deltas, and become the sand of distant shores. And perhaps one day, through the patient cycle of uplift and erosion, that same sand will be pressed again into stone, thrust upward once more and reborn as a mountain. The earth never ends its creation. It only changes form. There is a strange comfort in that. The idea that everything mountain, sea, and sky is part of a single living motion. That nothing is truly lost, only transformed. The same forces that carve cliffs also build continents. The same rains that wear down rock give birth to life. Even destruction in this grand pattern is a kind of renewal. Close your eyes and imagine the earth from above. Watch as clouds drift like breath over the curving surface as continents shift imperceptibly beneath them. Mountains rise in slow procession, their peaks glowing faintly in the morning sun. Below, oceans spread like liquid mirrors, reflecting a sky that changes color with each breath of wind. This is the face of the planet still being drawn by the invisible hands of time. Now imagine standing on one of those peaks. The air is thin and silent. Beneath you, the world stretches into infinity. You can feel the faint vibration of the planet's heart, the deep, unending pulse of creation. It hums through the soles of your feet, through the rock, through the soil. The same heartbeat that lifted this mountain millions of years ago still echoes in the stone. And somewhere far below, in the quiet depths of the ocean, that same pulse stirs the seafloor, moving it grain by grain. Even the calmest waters are part of the same motion. The earth is never still. It dreams in shifting landscapes, shaping its own body with infinite care. As night falls, the mountains rest under a blanket of shadow. The seas grow dark and still, reflecting the soft shimmer of stars. But even in that silence, the motion continues, unseen, patient, eternal. The peaks rise. The oceans fall. The planet breathes once more. So tonight, as you lay your head upon the earth's ancient chest, oh, that you are lying upon a living world. Beneath you, continents move like slow waves. Above you, stars drift across the sea of sky. Between them, you exist, a small, bright breath in a rhythm as old as creation itself. Sleep now to the heartbeat of mountains and the whisper of seas. The earth is still at work, shaping beauty from its own depths, turning stone into sky, silence into song, and time into the gentle dream that holds us all. The mountains have settled into their patient stillness. The seas, quiet beneath the stars, breathe with the slow rhythm of the earth. Above them all, the winds whisper through the valleys, carrying traces of dust and time. Yet beneath this calm, something deeper is stirring. For the planet's true memory is not written in water or in clouds, but in stone itself. Every grain, every crystal, every silent mountain wall holds a secret, whispers of fire and pressure, of ancient light and endless transformation. Tonight we drift into the heart of that memory, into the breath of the stones themselves. If you could listen closely enough to the ground beneath your feet, you would hear it sigh. Not the sound of air or wind, but the slow exhale of time. For the earth too breathes, though its lungs are made of stone, and its voice is measured in centuries. Beneath every rock and every pebble lies a story that has taken millions of years to form. These stones are not silent, they are alive with memory. Once all rock was movement. Granite, basalt, obsidian each began as molten fire flowing like rivers beneath the surface of the world. Long before they hardened into stillness, they pulsed with heat, with motion, with life. Deep in the Earth's crust, magma gathered in vast glowing chambers, pushing upward through cracks in the cooling crust, searching for release. When it finally reached the surface, it poured out in liquid waves, shaping mountains, valleys, and plains. Over ages, that same molten river cooled, crystallized, and froze, capturing within it the story of its own transformation. Granite, perhaps the most ancient of these storytellers, was once a slow-moving sea of molten light. Each grain of quartz within it shimmered before solidifying. Each fleck of feldspar once glowed like a captured sunrise. Now it lies still, patient, unchanging. Yet when you run your fingers across its cool surface, you touch time itself, the frozen breath of a world that once burned. Granite is the Earth's way of remembering its own heat, its endurance, its quiet persistence. Basalt tells a different story. Born from volcanic fire, it spreads across the planet's surface in dark, heavy sheets, forming the bed of the oceans and the bones of islands. Its weight is the weight of beginnings, the foundation upon which continents drift. Touch it, and you touch the first crust that ever cooled enough to bear the promise of life. Its color, deep and steady, seems to hold the pulse of the earth within it, a reminder that even beneath the calm surface, the world's heart is still molten and alive. And then there is obsidian, the volcanic glass. It was once so hot that it forgot how to be solid. When lava cooled too quickly for crystals to form, it hardened into smooth black mirrors, shining fragile and sharp as truth itself. For thousands of years, humans have shaped it into tools and blades, finding beauty and danger intertwined. Yet its nature remains what it always was, a moment of chaos captured forever, a reflection of how sudden change can create something of haunting perfection. All these stones, granite, basalt, obsidian, breathe the same language: transformation. They teach us that nothing is fixed, that even the hardest materials can melt, flow, and begin again. Time and pressure are their sculptors just as they are ours. We too are shaped by the unseen forces that press and warm and cool the heart. Look closer at any rock, and you will see tiny patterns, colors, and veins running through it. Lines where minerals met and fused, where the Earth's pulse left its trace. Some stones shimmer with crystal light. Others hold the faint, ghostly imprints of ancient life. Every one of them is a diary, a page written in mineral ink, recording the planet's long conversation with itself. Imagine for a moment standing within a canyon carved through eons of stone. The walls rise above you like cathedrals of color, red, gold, gray, layered in silence. Each stratum is a breath, a pause in time. You are surrounded not by emptiness, but by the slow breathing of the earth. You can feel it in your chest, the way the air cools and vibrates as though the planet itself were drawing in and letting go. Stone endures, but it is never dead. It swells and shrinks with the heat of the sun, drinks in rain and releases it as mist. It erodes, crumbles, and reforms again, carrying with it the memory of every shape it has taken. Even the dust that settles on your windowsill is made from stone that once stood as mountains. The pebbles beneath the waves, the cliffs that guard the coasts, the sand that slips between your fingers, they are all part of one breath, inhaling and exhaling through the long rhythm of ages. The planet's crust is in truth its skin, thin, delicate, forever changing. Beneath it flows the mantle of vast sea of molten rock that moves so slowly it appears still. But its movement is the reason the world lives. The crust floats upon it, shifting like fragile rafts on a glowing ocean. When those rafts collide, mountains rise. When they part, oceans open. Even the deepest stones are not beyond motion. The earth turns them, folds them, and gives them new life. Perhaps that is why the sight of stone stirs something ancient within us. We are drawn to cliffs and caves, to rocks worn smooth by rivers and time. They remind us that we too are born of the same matter, carved by pressure and softened by patience. The minerals in our blood, the calcium in our bones, the iron that gives us strength, all come from the same breath of the earth. To rest your hand upon a rock is to touch the ancestor of yourself. There is peace in knowing that the earth changes slowly. While we race through our brief moments of worry and wonder, it moves at a pace beyond fear. Rocks do not rush. They simply become. They are content to wait to be reshaped by wind, water, and fire until they return once more to dust. And from that dust, the cycle begins again. So, when you next walk across a path of stones or hold a smooth pebble in your palm, pause. Feel its weight. Imagine how long it has traveled, how many ages it has survived. Within that small, silent object lies a history older than words, older than the stars you see above. The stone remembers what the world has forgotten: the patience of creation, the peace of stillness, the beauty of endurance. Tonight, as you rest, imagine the breath of the earth beneath you, the slow expansion and contraction of a living planet. The same breath that once turned fire to granite, lava to glass, and mountains to sand, now moves gently through your own heartbeat. You are part of it. You are made of it. The stone sleeps, but it also dreams. And if you listen closely in the stillness between your thoughts, you might hear it whisper back to you, "Be still. Be patient. Become." The stones are breathing now. Their patience has shaped mountains. Their silence has carved valleys. And their endurance has carried the story of fire into calm. Yet the earth's great artist, the one that paints, smooths, and sculpts its every contour, has always been water. After the fires cooled and the rocks found rest, water arrived not as destruction, but as grace. Drop by drop, wave by wave, it began to write upon the face of the world. Tonight we follow that quiet artist to the rivers that carve, to the rain that hums, and to the oceans that cradle life in their gentle arms. It begins softly, as most miracles do with rain. The clouds, swollen from their long journey across the sky, finally give in. A single droplet falls, tracing the invisible pull of gravity through the air. Then another follows and another, until the whole sky exhales. The rain begins to sing against the stone, each drop a note in the great symphony of creation. The earth listens and opens itself. That gentle rainfall is the most patient sculptor the world has ever known. It does not strike or shatter, it caresses. It seeps into cracks, fills crevices, and whispers its way through the silence of stone. Over years it deepens the smallest grooves into valleys. Over centuries it carries grains of sand to the sea. It is the same song that has been playing since the first clouds formed over a cooling world, a melody of persistence that turns mountains into plains and stone into soil. Rivers are born from this music. They begin as threads of silver winding through slopes and forests, gathering strength as they descend. They carry the breath of the mountains to the ocean, carving paths through the bones of the planet. Every river is a storyteller remembering where it came from. Some rush with youth tumbling over rocks in wild laughter. Others flow wide and deep, their pace slowed by time, murmuring softly to the trees that lean over their banks. The river's journey is one of purpose. They are not merely water in motion. They are the veins of the earth carrying minerals, nutrients, and life across continents. In their currents, they hold the memories of rain and snow, of melting glaciers and quiet springs. They polish pebbles into smooth jewels, carry mountains away one grain at a time, and weave patterns into the land so intricate that even the wind cannot erase them. At night, when the world grows still, rivers glimmer beneath the moon like strands of living light. They reflect the sky's calm, but beneath their surface they are always moving, always shaping, always dreaming. The sound of a river in the dark is one of the oldest lullabies on earth. A steady murmur that reminds us that life flows forward no matter how heavy the stones may seem. Water writes not just with movement, but with patience. The great canyons, the smooth caves, the winding deltas, all are the calligraphy of time written in liquid strokes. Every curve in a valley, every line along a cliff face, is a sentence in the story of erosion. What the fire once built, the water refines. It is not destruction, but completion, an act of grace that turns raw creation into harmony. And then there are the glaciers, the slow, heavy rivers of ice that shape the world in silence. They move so gently that a lifetime cannot see them shift. Yet they carve mountains, scoop valleys, and carry boulders across entire continents. Each flake of snow that falls upon them becomes part of an ancient pilgrimage, compressed and hardened under the weight of countless winters. When they finally melt, their waters feed the rivers, the lakes, and the seas, continuing the eternal cycle of motion. Where glaciers withdraw, they leave behind gifts, fertile plains, shimmering lakes, and soil rich with minerals. From what seems like desolation comes abundance. This is the secret of water. It takes nothing that it does not return. Every drop that leaves one place becomes nourishment for another. In that endless exchange, the planet keeps its balance. In deserts too, where rain rarely falls, water leaves its mark. Ancient rivers long vanished have carved dry channels that still trace their ghostly paths across the sand. Even here, where the air burns and the ground cracks, the memory of water remains. The earth remembers every drop, every flood, every ripple. Time cannot erase the signature of rain. Water does not fear gravity, it loves it. Every drop is a dream of descent, a longing to return to the sea. And when it arrives, the ocean gathers it in a single vast embrace. The sea does not ask where the water came from, it simply accepts it. Every river's story ends here, where fresh and salt meet in the quiet rhythm of waves. The ocean breathes in and out, cradling the world in its endless arms. From space, it glows blue, a color born of reflection, depth, and serenity. But up close, the ocean is more than color. It is heartbeat and memory, a vast mirror that remembers the sky. It holds the song of every river, every storm, every glacier that ever lived. Within its depths lies everything the earth has written, its minerals, its light, its silence. And though it seems eternal, even the ocean is changing, reshaping itself grain by grain, tide by tide. On distant shores, the sea's touch is gentle but tireless. Each wave that breaks upon the coast carries a secret. It has traveled thousands of miles, crossed the paths of whales and drifting continents, and now ends its journey here, only to begin again. The sound of waves against the shore is the earth's most tender voice, whispering that nothing truly ends. It only transforms. When rain returns, the cycle begins anew. The ocean lifts its water into clouds. The clouds move over the land. The land offers it back to the sea. The planet's great heart keeps beating through these invisible exchanges, through vapor and storm, through snow and dew. And through that rhythm, life continues. Every forest, every blade of grass, every breath you take, owes itself to this endless movement of water. So tonight, listen. Beyond the walls, beyond the hum of the world, there is the faint murmur of rain somewhere in the distance. It may be falling on a quiet hill, a faraway river, or the endless sea. But wherever it lands, it is singing the same song. The song of renewal, of memory, of motion. Water never stops writing. It shapes mountains and softens hearts, carrying both sorrow and beauty to the same shore. And as you drift into sleep, imagine that you are part of its gentle story, a drop among millions moving toward the great calm of the sea. The same rhythm that shapes the world now moves through you. Let it wash over your thoughts, smooth your worries, and carry you into the deep, quiet peace, where everything returns and everything begins again. The rivers have returned to the sea, their long stories dissolving into the vast blue calm. The rain has rested, the glaciers have melted, and the planet lies beneath a canopy of clouds, breathing in its quiet rhythm. But time on Earth never truly sleeps. Even in stillness, change stirs. Beneath the gentle song of water waits a silence colder than any night, a moment when the entire world holds its breath. Tonight we drift into that frozen age, when even the ocean stopped moving, and the earth became white as light itself. Imagine a world where every color has vanished. The deep blue of the oceans, the green of forests, the warm browns of earth, all gone. In their place, an endless plain of white stretches from one horizon to the other. The sun dimmed and distant hangs in a pale sky. Winds sweep across the frozen surface, carrying fine dust like breath upon glass. No rivers flow, no rain falls. The planet sleeps beneath a sheet of ice, silent and still. This was Earth nearly 700 million years ago, a world frozen from pole to pole, a sphere of snow adrift in the quiet sea of space. Before this long winter, the planet had been alive with storms and tides. Oceans shimmered, volcanoes roared, and continents drifted through sunlight and rain. But something shifted. The warmth began to fade. Volcanic ash and ocean currents, clouds and carbon, all the invisible systems that kept the Earth in balance, turned against one another. Slowly, almost gently, the planet cooled. Ice crept from the poles like a patient tide, inch by inch, year by year, until the line between ocean and land disappeared. The Earth exhaled one last breath of warmth, and then nothing. Snow covered mountains. Glaciers sealed the seas. Even the air seemed frozen in place. The entire planet became a mirror reflecting the faint light of the sun back into space, trapping itself in its own brilliance. The silence was profound, deeper than words, deeper than sound. Yet even then the world was not dead, it was only sleeping. Beneath the thick skin of ice, life endured in hidden pockets. In the darkness of the deep ocean near volcanic vents, tiny organisms clung to warmth, surviving on minerals and lightless fire. They were small, so small that a human eye could not have seen them, but they were alive. And in their quiet persistence, they carried the promise of everything that would come after forests, animals, us. It is easy to imagine that such a frozen world would feel hopeless, but even in that silence there was beauty. The glaciers shimmered like glass. The winds carved sculptures from snow. The light of the sun scattered into halos that glowed across the horizon. From above, the planet looked like a pearl, a single shining bead suspended in the blackness of the universe. The Earth, though cold, had never been more radiant. For millions of years this stillness lasted. The ice thickened, pressing the crust beneath it, bending mountains, crushing valleys. Volcanoes fell silent. The seas, sealed beneath miles of frozen water, grew dark and heavy. The planet's heartbeat slowed almost to a whisper. Yet deep below, the core burned on its molten heart, patient and unyielding. Then slowly the balance began to shift again. Volcanoes once suffocated found their strength. Gases rose from the depths, carbon, sulfur vapor, drifting through cracks in the frozen crust. Each eruption was like a spark in the dark, a pulse of warmth spreading through the still air. Over time, those pulses began to gather. The sky filled with smoke and light. The frozen seas began to tremble. The world stirred in its sleep. One day, though, day meant something far different. Then the sun returned. It rose over the edge of an icy horizon, and for the first time in ages its warmth lingered. The glaciers, once hard as steel, began to weep. Rivers of meltwater cut through the ice, glimmering beneath the pale sky. Steam rose where sunlight met stone. The planet's breath quickened. The snow cracked. The air grew thick, and from beneath the endless white, the earth began to awaken. The melt was not gentle. When the ice finally broke, it did so with fury. Floods swept across continents, roaring through valleys, reshaping the face of the world. Oceans once sealed burst forth in waves that devoured the land. The air filled with the sound of water, the song of rebirth, and through that chaos warmth returned not as fire but as light. The seas grew blue again, the sky deepened, the world exhaled. In that great thaw, life itself began to bloom. The sunlight that had been trapped by ice now poured into the oceans, feeding the simple cells that had survived beneath. They multiplied, spread, and changed. From the ruins of the frozen age, new forms of life emerged, stronger, more complex, ready for the vast story that lay ahead. Some scientists say that this cataclysm was necessary, that without the ice, the Earth might never have learned how to live again. The freeze purified it, resetting the balance, preparing the world for a deeper breath of life. In its stillness, the planet learned patience. In its silence, it gathered strength. When the thaw came, it was not just an ending, it was a beginning. If you listen closely, you can almost hear it, the sound of melting ice, the dripping of ancient water, the sigh of a planet awakening from a long sleep. It is the same rhythm that continues today, in every change of season, every winter that gives way to spring. The Earth still remembers that long white dream, and in every snowflake that falls, a fragment of that memory returns. There is a lesson hidden in that frozen world. Even when everything seems still, life continues beneath the surface. Even when the light fades, warmth waits below. The planet itself teaches us resilience, that the deepest cold can give birth to light, that silence can lead to song, and that endings are often beginnings disguised in frost. So, as you rest tonight, think of that distant Earth beneath its blanket of white. Picture it slowly breathing again, the ice melting the rivers, forming the oceans, returning to life. Feel that same rhythm in your own heart, the warmth that always finds its way back, no matter how long the winter lasts. For even now, as the stars glimmer above, and the night lies still, the world turns gently beneath you, carrying within it the same promise it has always kept, that after every silence, there will be sound. After every darkness, there will be dawn. And after every winter, the Earth will rise again. The ice has melted. The long white dream has ended. From beneath the thawing glaciers, the Earth breathes again, slowly, deeply, gratefully. Rivers run free once more, whispering through valleys that have not seen sunlight for millions of years. The air grows soft, the oceans shimmer with new life, and something invisible stirs within the sky. The world at last is ready to take its first true breath. Tonight we rise with that breath into the birth of air, into the dawn of oxygen, into the moment when the planet first learned how to breathe life itself. Long before lungs were ever imagined, before a single creature could draw breath, the air of Earth was heavy, silent, and strange. It was a sky without blue, a world wrapped in haze. The atmosphere shimmered with gases that would have choked us: methane, carbon dioxide, sulfur. It was a place of heat and fire, not yet ready for gentleness. But deep within the ancient seas, invisible architects were already at work, tiny, patient, and tireless. They would change everything. These first architects were cyanobacteria, microscopic beings that floated through the warm shallows of the early oceans. They were simple, almost fragile, yet inside them pulsed a power no mountain or volcano could match. They learned to drink sunlight. With each ray they absorbed, they split water into hydrogen and oxygen, releasing the latter as waste. What they discarded, we would one day call breath. At first, the oxygen they made had nowhere to go. The seas swallowed it greedily, binding it to iron and stone. The ocean floor turned red as rust formed in layers, painting the first record of air upon the planet's skin. Still, the bacteria kept working. Day after day, century after century, they released more oxygen into the water until the seas could hold no more. The excess rose upward, bubbling through the surface and escaping into the open sky. Slowly, invisibly, the air began to change. It was not a gentle transformation. To the life that existed then, oxygen was poison. The same breath that would someday sustain forests and animals was deadly to the world's first inhabitants. Many perished. Others retreated into darkness, hiding in oxygen-free corners of the ocean. The earth was reshaped once again, not by fire or ice, but by something smaller than dust. Something that could fit upon the tip of a pin, and yet change the course of all time. With oxygen came light. The haze that had shrouded the sky began to thin. The air grew clearer, and for the first time sunlight reached the ground unfiltered. The color blue was born. Imagine that first morning when the sky turned from gray to sapphire, when the oceans sparkled under the reflection of their own color, when the entire planet seemed to wake up inside a dream of light. As oxygen filled the air, it began to form another invisible gift: ozone. High above the Earth, this delicate veil wrapped around the planet, shielding it from the sun's harsh rays. For the first time, life could dare to leave the water. The oceans had been the planet's cradle, but now, for those brave enough to emerge, the land offered promise. The Earth had grown lungs. It could breathe, and so could the life it carried. It's almost impossible to imagine the magnitude of that change. Every breath you take now, every sigh, every whisper, traces its ancestry back to that ancient transformation. The air that moves through your lungs tonight carries molecules that may once have floated through those primeval seas, brushed against the skin of the first bacteria, or drifted through the breath of the first fern. The atmosphere is a living memory, continuously recycled and renewed, connecting everything that has ever lived in one long, unbroken inhalation. As the sky cleared, storms changed. Rain began to fall differently, cleaner, cooler, lighter. Winds carried oxygen across the continents, fueling reactions that would later give birth to forests, to creatures, to the song of life itself. Lightning flashed in the higher sky, igniting nitrogen and awakening new elements of chemistry. Every storm became a creative act. Each drop of rain a painter's stroke in the portrait of a living world. In the shallows, algae bloomed, coloring the seas with deep greens and teals. The oxygen they exhaled shimmered upward like prayer. The world was learning how to breathe in harmony. The oceans inhaling carbon, the skies exhaling air, the land preparing for the footsteps of life. The rhythm of the planet began to sound like a heartbeat, a pulse that would never stop. But oxygen was not only a giver of life, it was also a maker of change. With its arrival came weathering, erosion, and fire. Forests would one day burn and regrow. Stones would crumble into soil. Mountains would breathe out clouds of dust. Oxygen made decay possible, and through decay came renewal. Even death in its way was part of this great respiration, returning what was used so that the world could continue its endless breath. Imagine standing in that newborn world, the air cool and clean, the wind carrying the scent of water and minerals. You look up, and for the first time, the sky is truly blue. The light is softer now, the heat more forgiving. In the distance, you can hear the whisper of waves against the shore, the hum of a planet at peace with itself. This is the sound of balance, the song of a world learning to sustain its own life. And even today that song continues. The air you breathe is not just atmosphere, it is a communion. Each inhale carries the exhalation of trees, oceans, and generations of life. long past. The oxygen in your lungs is the same that once filled the skies of the ancient earth, the same that ignited the first fires and painted the dawns of 1,000 millennia. We are, every one of us, breathing the memory of creation. The earth learned to breathe through light, and in doing so it gave us the gift of our own existence. The smallest beings taught the greatest lesson that even the tiniest act done in quiet persistence can transform a world. So tonight, as you breathe slowly, deeply, gently, know that you are continuing a rhythm billions of years old. You are part of the same pulse that began when sunlight met water, and life exhaled for the very first time. Let your breath be soft, as the ocean sigh, steady as the wind across the mountains, ancient as the stars that gave this air its birth. The earth breathes within you, and as you drift into sleep, let that breath guide you calm, endless and full of light, toward the same peace that filled the skies when the air first learned how to live. The air has found its rhythm now. The sky glows blue, the oceans shimmer green, and the breath of the planet moves in harmony with light. Life, small and unseen, fills the waters with whispers of growth. Yet as the world breathes deeper, it begins to remember. The land, the sea, and the air are not blank pages anymore. They hold traces, impressions, stories written by what has lived and faded. The earth has begun to keep a record of itself. Tonight we wander into that grand archive, where every stone and fossil holds a fragment of memory, and every whisper of dust tells the story of time. If you could walk upon the ocean floor and brush your fingers across its stones, you would feel the stories of millions of years etched in silence. Each layer of rock, each vein of mineral, each fragile fossil is a page in the Earth's diary, a quiet record of everything that has lived, loved, struggled, and gone to rest. The planet has learned to remember. Long before words or eyes existed to see them, life began to leave its marks. The first storytellers were not poets or painters, but creatures too small to notice. They lived, they died, and their delicate forms fell to the seafloor, one by one settling into fine layers of sediment. Over ages, these layers hardened into stone. Trapped within them were imprints of shells, skeletons, and shadows, messages from worlds long vanished, written not in ink but in shape and texture. To the patient eye, these rocks reveal a miracle, the progression of life frozen in time. The earliest fossils are faint, mere impressions, tiny spirals, ripples, or patterns left by soft-bodied beings. But as the centuries deepened, those shapes grew bolder. The seas filled with shells, corals, and creatures with bones. Life had discovered structure, and through that structure, it began to tell its story with clarity and grace. Each fossil, each preserved trace, is a sentence in that story. Some speak of abundance, reefs thriving under warm suns, forests spreading across continents, great schools of fish darting through glowing water. Others speak of loss, mass extinctions, fire from the sky, oceans growing dark. Yet even the chapters of destruction are part of the tale, for from every ending something new begins. Imagine walking through a canyon where the walls rise like the spines of a great book. Each layer of stone is a chapter stacked upon the last. At the base, the rock is dark and simple, born of fire. Higher up it lightens, carrying faint patterns of shells and coral. Above that, the marks of ferns and trees. And then at last, the faint outline of creatures that walked on land. It is the autobiography of the planet, written over 4 billion years, one grain of sand at a time. And hidden between those layers is something more profound than memory. It is continuity. Life does not vanish. It transforms. The same carbon that once shaped a fern may now rest in your breath. The calcium that built a shell might now lie in your bones. Everything that has lived becomes part of everything that lives now. The story never truly ends. It only changes form. The Earth's library extends far beyond the rocks. Fossilized wood holds the grain of ancient forests, each ring a record of seasons long forgotten. Drops of amber golden and translucent hold entire worlds within a trapped insect. A bubble of air, a speck of pollen carrying the fragrance of an age that no longer exists. Even ice carries its own archives, layers of frost and snow that capture the breath of old atmospheres, preserving the chemistry of ancient skies. These are the sacred relics of time. They remind us that the world is not just a place we live, but a living memory in which we belong. Every breeze carries dust that once touched the skin of dinosaurs. Every raindrop contains molecules that once rippled through primordial seas. We are walking through history with every breath surrounded by the echoes of all that came before. As life multiplied and grew more complex, it began to write its stories more vividly. The shapes of leaves changed, adapting to sunlight and shade. Shells became armor, bones became architecture. The great forests of the Carboniferous Age rose high, their trunks thick with resin and moss, their canopies turning sunlight into air. When those forests fell, buried under their own weight, they became coal, the stored sunlight of a vanished world, waiting quietly beneath our feet. Even the silence of extinction tells us something. The gaps in the record, the missing chapters, speak of resilience. After every catastrophe, the earth began again. After ice, warmth. After fire, growth. After darkness, light. The fossils that survive are not only memories, they are proof that the pulse of life is stronger than any storm, any flood, any fall. It is humbling to realize that we are part of this story, written in the same ink. Our bones, our breath, our fragile lives, all are pages in the same book. And someday, long after we are gone, the traces of our time will join the layers of stone, telling their own quiet story to whatever eyes will come next. Perhaps that is why fossils move us so deeply. When we hold one, we hold a fragment of eternity, a touch from a being that once lived beneath another sun, in another age. The weight of that stone in your hand is not merely mineral, it is memory made tangible. It reminds us that we are never truly separated from the past, that time itself is circular, and that the smallest life leaves the greatest mark. Even the sand beneath your feet is full of memory. It is made of mountains, once tall as clouds, ground down by rain and river, carried to the sea, and reborn again. Every grain is a traveler, a witness to the slow unfolding of creation. The earth has never forgotten a single detail. It remembers in silence, in texture, in color, in form. Tonight, as you lie in stillness, imagine the ground beneath you, the ancient strata stretching far below the fossils, resting quietly in the dark, the layers of time stacked like sleeping pages. You are resting upon the memory of worlds. Beneath your body are the sighs of oceans, the footprints of creatures that no longer walk, the whispers of forests that once sang in the wind. The earth remembers for us. It carries the weight of all that has been, so that we might learn to listen. And as you drift into sleep, let that thought wrap around you gently, that you too are a sentence in the story of time, unique, irreplaceable, and everlasting in the quiet memory of the world. The Earth's memory has been written in stone, layer upon layer of time pressed beneath our feet. We have walked through its pages, touched its fossils, and listened to its ancient sighs. But the story of the planet is not one of stillness. It is the rhythm of opposites. Fire and water, birth and decay, silence and eruption. They do not destroy one another. They dance. And now, as we leave behind the hushed libraries of stone, we move toward that eternal dance, where the planet's fiercest forces meet and find harmony. Tonight we drift into the heart of creation itself, where fire and water make peace. Beneath the calm surface of the earth, the fires never sleep. They breathe in silence, glowing deep within the mantle, a heartbeat hidden from the sky. Above, the oceans stretch in endless blue, whispering over the crust like cool hands upon a fevered brow. For millions of years they have been strangers, fire below, water above, each shaping the world in their own image. Yet there came a time when they began to meet not as enemies but as partners in creation. It began at the edges where the sea floor cracked and trembled, where molten rock slipped quietly into the cold embrace of the deep. The moment fire touched water, the world seemed to gasp. Steam rose in great silver clouds, hissing and coiling like breath made visible. New land was born there in that moment of contact, lava cooling into basalt black, and shining a newborn island rising through the mist. From destruction came the first act of peace, the meeting of two forces that had once lived apart. You can still see it today, if you stand on the rim of a volcanic shore. The earth exhales from beneath your feet. The waves roll in soft and unhurried meeting streams of molten light that spill into their arms. What should end in violence, instead, becomes transformation. The fire gives the water new minerals, new ground. The water cools the fire's fury into stone. And between them, creation continues. Long ago, entire islands were forged this way. The Hawaiian archipelago, Iceland's black sands, the volcanic chains that dot the Pacific. They are the children of fire and water's embrace. From beneath the sea, magma rises like a slow song, its heat carving chambers in the dark. When it finds release, it spills upward, meeting the ocean's chill. The reaction is sudden and wild, yet strangely gentle in its purpose. With each eruption, a new layer of rock forms, hardens, and rests. Island by island, mountain by mountain, the planet writes its own hymn of balance. But the dance of fire and water is not only in the depths, it is within every storm, every cloud, every drop of rain that meets the sun. When the ocean warms under the light of day, it sends vapor into the air, a quiet exhalation of gratitude. That vapor rises, cools, and returns, as rain falling upon volcanoes, rivers, and plains. The same cycle that creates islands also creates weather, carving paths for rivers that will feed the forests born from volcanic soil. Life itself springs from this endless exchange. In the jungles of Indonesia and the green slopes of Hawaii, plants flourish in the soil of old eruptions. What was once ash and destruction becomes the richest ground on earth. Flowers root in the remnants of flame. Forests bloom where lava once flowed. The air hums with insects, the trees drip with rain, and the earth through fire and water gives back what it once took. From chaos grows abundance. From heat and flood comes balance. If you listen carefully near an active volcano after rain, you can hear the dialogue of these forces. The hiss of steam where the drops strike hot stone, the gurgle of small springs forming along blackened slopes. It is not anger you hear, but conversation. The earth speaks softly in this place, reminding us that conflict too can create harmony when tempered by patience and time. Deep within the planet's crust, the same story repeats in quieter ways. Water seeps into cracks in the rock, meets hidden magma chambers, and emerges again, transformed, carrying minerals, salts, and metals that will one day shape mountains, rivers, and life. The veins of quartz, the shimmer of crystals, the color of soil, all are born from this secret alchemy. The fire purifies, the water delivers, and together they write beauty into the bones of the world. Fire and water mirror the pulse of our own hearts, passion and calm, destruction and renewal. They dwell side by side within us just as they do within the planet. Without one, the other loses meaning. Fire gives energy. Water gives peace. The balance between them is what sustains the world. The ocean cannot exist without the heat that drives its currents. The volcano cannot breathe without the rain that cools its crust. Creation is born from cooperation, not from conquest. Sometimes in the quiet of dusk, when the sun meets the horizon, you can see this truth reflected in color. The fiery glow of the sky mirrored on the calm sea below. Two elements opposite in nature blending seamlessly into one vision of light. The world is always teaching us if only we pause to see. And so the earth continued, patient and alive. Islands rose and sank, mountains grew and wore away, seas advanced and retreated. The fires beneath and the waters above never ceased their dialogue. In their ceaseless exchange, they shaped every landscape we know, every coastline, every plain, every grain of sand. Even the air we breathe carries a trace of their story, forged in the heat of volcanoes and cooled by the kiss of rain. There is something profoundly comforting in knowing that even the fiercest forces of nature find peace. That from collision comes creation, from opposition unity. The planet itself is a living testament to reconciliation. What once seemed irreconcilable, the fire that burns and the water that quenches, became the foundation of all that exists. As you rest tonight, imagine standing upon a newly formed island, steam curling around your feet. The ground beneath you is still warm, alive with the memory of its birth. The air smells of salt and sulfur, a blend of ocean and flame. You watch the waves lap gently at the black shore, and above you the sky glows faintly red, with the reflection of molten rivers far below. It is not destruction you feel, it is wonder. You are witnessing creation in its purest form, the earth dreaming itself anew. And in that dream, fire and water continue their eternal waltz, neither winning, neither losing, only becoming. Their dance is the heartbeat of the planet, the rhythm of all life, the quiet assurance that balance will always return. Sleep now, to the sound of rain whispering on distant stone, to the echo of the earth's sigh as it cools. For beneath you the fires are still burning, and above you the waters are still falling. Together, they are writing tomorrow. The fire has cooled, and the waters have found their calm. The earth once shaped by chaos now breathes in steady rhythm. Mountains rise and crumble, seas swell and retreat. Forests bloom and fade. Time moves patiently, carrying within it the stories of all creation. And now, as the planet matures, something new begins to stir upon its surface. A presence that listens, studies, and remembers. For the first time, creation looks back upon its own creator. Tonight we walk among those who learn to read the earth's heartbeat. The seekers of truth, the dreamers of stone and sky. By the time the first human hands touched the earth, the planet had already lived through more than 4 billion years of story. The continents had drifted, mountains had risen and fallen, oceans had been born and reborn. Life had struggled and survived through fire, ice, and silence. Yet all that time no one had ever stood still to listen, to notice the rhythm beneath their feet. And then one day we did. It began not with grandeur, but with wonder. A footprint pressed into soft clay, a child's gaze tracing the shape of a shell. The first people to walk upon this ancient stage did not yet know the scale of what they were standing on, but they felt it. They felt the hum of something vast and eternal pulsing through the ground. The earth was not just a place to live, it was a companion, a teacher, a breathing memory. As the centuries passed, that curiosity deepened. People began to carve symbols into stone, to paint the walls of caves with the colors of soil and ash. Those paintings, bison, deer, spirals, stars, were more than decoration. They were the first attempts to speak with the earth in its own language. Each pigment was made from ground minerals. Each stroke carried the scent of smoke and dust. Humanity was learning to echo creation through art, but art was only the beginning. We became wanderers and watchers, drawn to the mystery of the world's shape. The desert's silence, the mountain's roar, the ocean's endless rhythm, all called to us, all whispered the same question. Where did this begin? And so, step by step, humanity became the Earth's student. We began to study the sky, measure the stars, and trace the passage of seasons in stone. In ancient Mesopotamia, people recorded the floods of the Tigris and Euphrates, learning the language of water. In Egypt, they watched the Nile's rise and fall, building calendars to match the rhythm of its flow. On the high plateaus of Peru, stones were arranged to follow the sun's shadow, marking the sacred passage of time. Across every land, humanity sought connection with the forces that shaped the planet. Each observation, each myth, each prayer was another thread woven into the great conversation between mankind and Earth. Then, slowly, the tools of wonder became the tools of understanding. The first geologists studied cliffs and found stories written in their layers. They realized that mountains were not eternal. They grew, they wore down, they rose again. Fossils told of worlds that no longer existed, of creatures whose bones had become stone. For the first time, we saw the earth not as static, but as alive. The ground beneath us was moving, growing, breathing just as we were. And yet, there was humility in this discovery. The more we learned, the smaller we felt. We found that the mountains we called ancient were young compared to the planet's true age. The stars we worshipped were suns scattered through an infinite sky. Humanity stood at the edge of an incomprehensible timeline and realized it was part of something far larger than itself. But rather than despair, we felt awe. For to be part of the story, even a single sentence of it was a kind of miracle. We began to touch the earth differently. The stones we once used as weapons became tools for creation. We carved monuments not just to gods, but to memory itself, to mark where we had been and what we had seen. Pyramids, temples, and standing stones rose from the soil like extensions of the human soul, reaching upward as if to greet the stars. Each one whispered the same message: we were here. We saw. We understood. Science became another form of reverence. We learned that volcanoes breathe from the core, that continents drift like rafts on molten seas, that the oceans cradle the planet's heartbeat. We trace the ages of rock, read the history of fossils, and listen to the whispers of wind that once blew across vanished lands. The earth opened itself to us not as a possession, but as a patient teacher sharing its secrets one layer at a time. But even as we learned, we began to forget the gentleness of that relationship. In our hunger for progress, we took more than we gave. Carving too deeply, burning too quickly, silencing the songs of rivers and forests. The balance wavered, and the earth reminded us in storms and tremors that it is not ours to command. It is ours to belong to. Still, there is hope. For just as we can destroy, we can also heal. In every scientist studying the climate, in every artist painting the land, in every child planting a seed, the old connection stirs again. Humanity is remembering what it once knew, that the planet is not separate from us. We are its breath, its movement, its reflection. The archaeologist kneeling before a fossil, the astronomer gazing through a telescope, the farmer feeling soil between her hands, all are part of the same act of love, the recognition that we come from this earth, and to it we return. We are the earth made aware of itself, looking back across eons of time, with eyes that see and hearts that wonder. Imagine standing on a cliff at dusk, the wind cool against your face. Beneath you lies a valley carved by water, framed by stone older than memory. Above the stars emerge those same stars that watched the first oceans form, the same light that guided the first wanderers. You breathe, and the air that fills your lungs has passed through forests, over seas, and through the lungs of countless beings before you. You are connected to everything that has ever lived. The earth holds us in its memory, just as we hold it in ours. Every discovery, every step, every heartbeat is a continuation of the planet's unfolding dream. We are its storytellers now, carrying its voice into the future. So, as you drift toward sleep, think of this: beneath your bed lies stone shaped by fire, and above your roof, starlight born before time. Between them stands you, a bridge between what was and what will be. The earth remembers you as you remember it, and in that quiet exchange creation continues. Humanity has begun to listen. We have traced the language of stone, followed the breath of oceans, and lifted our gaze to the stars. In understanding the earth, we have begun to understand ourselves, a brief shining reflection of the universe that made us. And yet even now, when we look at the sky, we sense that the story is not confined to this planet alone. The dust beneath our feet and the light above our heads are born of the same fire. The earth is not an island. It is a child of the cosmos. Tonight, we drift beyond the horizon of our world to the place where stars and soil meet, and the heavens whisper their eternal kinship with the earth. Long before mountains formed and oceans learned to move, there was only darkness, and within that darkness, a single silent explosion of light. The universe bloomed like a breath. Stars ignited, galaxies spun. And from the ashes of that first fire, everything we know began. The earth itself, the air you breathe, the bones in your hands, all were born from the same celestial dust that once burned in the heart of ancient stars. When we gaze at the night sky, we are not looking at something distant. We are looking at our own origins scattered across infinity. The stars are not merely above us, they are within us. Each shimmer in the sky is a reflection of the same light that forged the atoms of our bodies. The iron in our blood, the calcium in our bones, the gold on our fingers, all were born in the collapse of dying suns. When those stars exploded, they sent their elements into the cosmic sea, where they gathered, cooled, and became the planets, including our own. In that sense, the earth is not separate from the heavens. It is their echo, their continuation. The mountains are the ashes of stars hardened into stone. The oceans are the cooled remnants of celestial fire. The air that surrounds us once drifted through nebulae that shimmered like silk across the void. To live here on this small blue sphere is to inhabit the memory of the universe's first dawn. Imagine the early solar system, a vast cloud of dust and gas circling a newborn sun glowing with golden light. Within that swirling chaos, gravity, gentle yet relentless, began to gather matter. Dust collided with dust, stone met stone, until a planet began to take shape. It grew layer by layer through endless collisions, heated by the energy of its own becoming. The fire in its core was a gift from the stars that died before it passed down like a heartbeat through time. The Earth's warmth is starlight made solid, still burning after billions of years. And when life first appeared, it too carried the spark of those same elements. Every living cell is a miniature universe echoing the structure of galaxies, spirals of energy, orbits of motion, harmony within chaos. In our DNA are the traces of stardust patterns that mirror the cycles of planets and suns. We are the cosmos aware of itself, the universe dreaming in human form. As centuries passed, we began to rediscover this connection. We looked up and found patterns in the stars, drawing constellations to give names to our origins. The ancients saw in them gods, heroes, and spirits, reflections of the same longing that stirred when we first learned to speak. To them, the stars were storytellers. They believed that every light above had a counterpart below, that for every shining point in the heavens there was a spark within the soul. And they were right. The stars have always guided us through darkness, through oceans, through the uncharted lands of the mind. Sailors once steered their ships by constellations, trusting the same light that had seen the birth of the world. Farmers planted by the moon, artists painted by its glow, and poets wrote of its melancholy beauty. We have never stopped reaching for the sky, because some part of us knows that we came from it. Even now, when science has replaced myth, the wonder remains. We send our telescopes into orbit, our probes beyond the edge of the solar system, and still the stars answer with silence and light. They do not speak in words, but in presence. Their glow is the universe's oldest language, reminding us that time itself began with illumination. Each ray of starlight we see tonight began its journey long before we were born. It crossed the emptiness of space, passing galaxies and nebulae to find our eyes, and in that moment time collapses. You are not merely looking at the stars, you are touching them. And perhaps if the universe has memory, it remembers us too. For as we look outward, we send our own light back. Tiny signals, radio waves, flickers of consciousness across the void. The cosmos watches itself through us, listens through us, feels through us. The earth once, a silent rock, now speaks back to the stars, through the minds it has grown. This conversation between heaven and earth is older than humanity. It is older than the moon, older than the mountains. It began when the first atom of hydrogen met its twin and formed a star, when that star burned and died, and when its dust became our world. And though we have learned to measure it, to chart it, to explain it, we have not diminished its mystery. The science only deepens the poetry. The more we understand the stars, the more miraculous they become. There are nights when the sky seems infinite, when the Milky Way spills across the heavens like a river of light, and for a moment all the noise of the world fades. In that silence, if you listen closely, you can feel the faint hum of belonging. You are standing on a planet that circles a star inside a galaxy that turns among billions of others, all born from the same breath. The same laws that move the stars move your heart. The same fire that glows in them glows in you. When you reach out your hand toward the sky, you are not reaching into emptiness. You are touching your oldest ancestor, the light that made all things. The earth is the child of stars, and through you the stars remember what it means to dream. So tonight, as the constellations rise and the night deepens, close your eyes. Imagine the galaxies spinning beyond sight, the light of 1,000 suns brushing the edge of your skin. Feel the gravity that holds you, the pulse that connects you to the fire within the planet and the fire beyond the stars. You are the bridge between both, the whisper between heaven and earth. Sleep now beneath their glow. The stars above you are not distant strangers. They are family. They are home. They have been waiting through billions of years of silence for your eyes to open and recognize their light. And as you drift into dreams, remember this truth. The earth is the cosmos made gentle, and you are its living spark, its way of remembering the sky. The stars still shimmer in the dark, silent guardians of our beginning. Their light, having traveled for billions of years now, rests upon our small blue world, a world born from their ashes, warmed by their fire, and shaped by their gravity. The earth has heard the language of water, fire, stone, and air. It has watched continents drift and mountains rise, has endured ice and flame, silence and song. And now, after all its movements, it rests beneath the same starlit sky that first witnessed its birth. Tonight, as the story reaches its final chapter, we listen to the Earth's quiet lullaby to the planet that never stops dreaming even as it sleeps beneath us. If you listen closely tonight, truly listen, you can hear it. Beneath the hum of cities, beyond the wind in the trees, there is a sound so soft and slow that only the heart can recognize it. It is the planet breathing, the deep rhythm of soil, the hush of waves folding upon themselves, the faint tremor of roots drinking rain. The earth is not silent. It is singing an ancient song that began long before we arrived, and will continue long after we are gone. Every sound we know is born from that melody. The rustle of leaves, the crackle of fire, the distant roll of thunder, all are notes in the same eternal composition. Even our own voices speaking, laughing, praying are echoes of that original music. For when the earth was born, it did not just form matter, it formed rhythm. Gravity became its drumbeat, the tides its breath, and the turning of the planet its steady refrain. In this vast symphony, nothing plays alone. The mountains hum in their stillness, holding the low, steady tones of endurance. The oceans add their gentle percussion waves, keeping time with the moon's pull. The winds carry the higher notes, rising and falling, weaving invisible harmonies between sky and land. And somewhere between them, humanity sings a voice, fragile yet bright, fleeting, yet part of the whole. When you lie down upon the ground, you can feel the vibration beneath your skin. It is faint but constant, the quiet hum of life moving through roots and rivers, through insects in the soil, through the slow shifting of rock beneath your feet. The earth speaks in patience, in frequencies too slow for our ears, but not too soft for our souls. Its song is one of continuity, of belonging, of peace. There is a reason why silence feels sacred in the wild. When we fall still, we return to the earth's tempo. We stop racing ahead of it and begin to move with it. The heart slows, the breath deepens, the noise of thought fades, and in that quiet, the world begins to speak again. A drop of water on a leaf becomes an entire universe. The sound of the wind through grass becomes a memory of eternity. We begin to remember that we are not separate from this place, we are part of its song. Think of how far the melody has traveled, from the roar of volcanoes to the trickle of melting ice, from the crash of meteorites to the whisper of a falling petal. It has never ceased. Time has been its instrument. Change has been its rhythm. Every epoch adds a new verse, every life a new note. And though the tone shifts, the essence remains balance, renewal, grace. Our ancestors felt this music instinctively. They built temples where the wind could sing through stone, where water could echo in chambers, where the stars themselves aligned with the earth's pulse. They knew that to be still in nature was to stand in the center of creation's orchestra. They listened not to dominate, but to belong. The sacred was not distant, it was beneath their feet, in the heartbeat of the ground. But as centuries passed, we grew louder. We forgot how to listen. The engines, the walls, the noise of progress began to drown the song. The earth's voice grew faint, not because it stopped, but because we turned away. Yet even in our busiest cities, its rhythm still finds us. It reaches us in the quiet after rain, in the silence before dawn, in the sound of a child slow breathing as they sleep. The planet still sings to us, it only asks that we pause long enough to hear. Perhaps that is why we find comfort in nature's sounds. A stream's murmur, the call of distant birds, the rumble of thunder. They remind us of the original harmony, the one we have always known, but sometimes forget. The lullaby of Earth is not made of melody alone, it is made of memory. It carries the warmth of the sun that shaped us, the patience of the mountains that held us, and the compassion of the oceans that sustained us. To listen is to remember where we came from. Now, as night falls and the stars emerge one by one, the earth grows still again. The air cools, the insects begin their chorus, and the wind carries the scent of soil and water. The planet drifts into its quiet hours, wrapped in its own breath. Somewhere far beneath you, magma still glows, rivers still move, and roots still search for water, but the surface rests dreaming. You are lying within that dream, part of its pulse, part of its peace. Imagine just for a moment floating high above the world. The earth turns slowly beneath you, half in shadow, half bathed in gold. You can see the clouds swirling over blue oceans, the faint glow of cities, the silver lines of rivers winding through darkness. From that distance, everything looks still. But you know it isn't. You know that within that quiet globe are the whispers of forests, the laughter of rain, the hum of life. The planet's song continues soft, but eternal. The lullaby of Earth has no beginning and no end. It is the breath of creation itself, moving through every atom, every creature, every moment. It tells us that nothing is ever lost, that every change is simply another verse. It reminds us that we are not guests here, we are the melody made conscious, the earth singing back to itself through the miracle of awareness. So tonight, as you rest, let the world cradle you. Let the hum of distant tides and the heartbeat of the ground lull you into peace. You are lying upon billions of years of memory, upon the warmth of stars, upon the patient hands of time. The same gravity that holds the moon above holds you now steady and safe. Close your eyes. The earth is still singing. Its lullaby moves through your veins, through your breath, through your dreams. You are home, woven into the fabric of everything, carried on the same rhythm that began with the first spark of light. Sleep now in the heart of the planet's song. And remember, the earth is alive, and it loves you in silence.